Hello and welcome to the first video of Blockbench. So this is the first video, which means it's an introduction. So let's talk about how you actually get into Blockbench. So there are two different ways to enter Blockbench. You can either download the app from the Blockbench website, or you can just use the web app. So in this case, I'll use the web app. To use the web app, you can just write web.blockbench.net. Once you click into that, you'll be greeted with this screen. So here's how it works. First of all, the UI, you can change it by going here on File, Preferences, Theme, and then you can change to a bunch of different themes you like. So you can choose how you want the main font to look like. You can choose your color scheme, custom CSS. You can even import your own theme if you have one. So here's how it works. First, for our case, we'll make a generic model. So you click generic model, create new, and here, this is where you can change the name of your model. So for this one, we're gonna try to make, let's say, a robot. So we're gonna write here, robot, and let's make him a chef too. So robot chef. That is probably not how you spell chef. Or actually, wait, not robot chef. Maybe we can make, actually, instead of a robot altogether, we can create another kind of creature. So let's say we want to make a puppet. So puppet. For model identifier, you don't have to put anything. Keep it per face UV. Texture size 16 if you want to keep the Minecraft style, and click confirm. So you'll be greeted with this screen. So let's talk about how the screen works. So first you have the add mesh. So when you click add mesh, it'll give you this menu, which is the diamond here. And you can click cuboid, you can click pyramid, plane, circle, cylinder, whatever one you want. You can choose the height and diameter from here, and then click confirm to get whatever you want. Here's add cube. So once you click it, by default it'll just add a cube there. And then you have here add group. So add group means, like, let's say I have like a bunch of cubes and I want them all to move together. Then I'd put them in a group and they'd work together. And then toggle more options basically just shows, like, look, let's say I have like 4 cubes. Toggle more options can make it like you can export that specific block. You can lock it so that you can't move it, and you can move all the others. And you can even pin it so that that's the one that you can see. So also, to delete a block, if you have a full keyboard, you would just click delete, not the backspace, delete. But if you don't have a full keyboard, you can right click and click delete from here. So now that we're done with these, let's talk about these. So here, this is where you can import a texture, and it will open a file of all the textures you have, or any image that can look like a texture to it. Here you can create a texture, and this is the UV. So what a UV basically is, let's think about it like a block. So if I had a block, and then I cut it into like those little sides it has, and I flatten them out, that's what the UV is gonna look like. So then we have here paint. So paint, since we don't have any block, we can't paint. But like, let's say we have that cube there, and we click paint. Those little pixels will show us how much we can paint exactly. And you can also choose here from the picker, which will give you this, the palette, which will only give you this, or you can choose both. I like to choose both because both works better. And then we have animate. So animate here, it's basically how you can make like characters move, talk, etc. And we'll be doing that later. And then we have the top buttons here. So file here, it can help you create a new model, open a model that you already have, open a model from the link, save a project, save project as, convert, etc. You can even export as a GTF model if you want to export to things like Sketchfab. Here you can edit, so you can undo something, redo something, edit, see the history of what you did. You can add a cube, add a mesh, add group, add camera. So what a camera does is it gets it at an angle. So like, let's say you always want to view that angle every so often. You can click that and it'll have it. Transform will change the scale, rotate, you can flip it, you can center it, you can toggle its visibility. UV, you can zoom, display, maximize, turn mapping tools, it will give you like these. If you have plugins, it could give you something like the load CEM template, Minecraft Entity Wizard, and Block Wizard. View mode is one of my favorites because you can turn on shading, ground plane, which will make it, of course, a ground plane. And you can even have something I like to call where you can have a preview scene, and then you can choose something from the Minecraft or a studio. So let's say I want the Minecraft over Nether. Boom. And it will give you the scene, and it'll show you how the lighting will work with that specific model, which is handy because if, like, let's say you're a modder and you want to know what it'll look like. And then we have help here where you can report an issue, developer, quick start wizard, Discord server, or the Blockbench wiki. So now that we know this, let's make a model together. So, also, actually let me teach you about how you can use the blocks to your advantage, obviously. Here you have the move, so you can use the shortcut V. And using move, by the way, something you should know, you can't move it like that diagonally. It's only like vertical or horizontally or up. And if you want to, instead of it making it like by every pixel, that's how you move, you can hold control and then move, and it'll move it by much smaller pixels. And it'll also leave you an onion skin trace. So like, let's say you made a mistake and you want to get it quickly back to where it was, you can put it like that, or so you can see what it looked like originally. You also have here the resize. Resize, you can either click E, or not E, you can click S, and it'll bring it to you like that, or you can just click from up here. So what you can do with this is that you can like stretch it out that way, you can stretch it out upwards, you can stretch it up like that, and you can also stretch it out by these cubes, which will make it that every side is even. So sometimes it won't work because like you need to have a specific angle at it. Like as you can see here, it moves it evenly, and it still keeps the onion skin too, which is perfect. And then we have the rotate. Rotate, its shortcut is R for rotate, and you can rotate it by every angle like this, like that, or like that. And if you use multiple angles, you can get it in a really cool shape. And then we have the pivot tool. Pivot tool is really helpful for animating or positioning. Let's say I want it right in the center, and then because I want to rotate it to make it look like an orb, I can like rotate it like that, maybe like that, and boom, now it looks like an orb in a way. Like I said, you can use Control Z or the undo buttons it already has. And vertex snap is something where it'll connect the cubes by default, but I don't recommend using it when making models. So let's make our robot, or I mean our puppet. So for the puppet face, let's say we want like a look like Pinocchio, so we need a reference image. So we can search up Pinocchio, and then we can actually just drag the image in. So like, let's say we want a Pinocchio that looks perfect for a 3D model, so maybe something like this is perfect. Or actually, yeah, this one fits better. So you can take this image and just drag it to the other tab, drop it, and then you can change its settings from here. So you can change its resize. So let's say we want it that small. And if you ever want to change it, you can double click on it. So now that we have the reference image, let's get to work. So the Minecraft player head is usually an 8x8, so we can change that from here. But let's make it on its own. So let's stretch it. So it will be a 6, 2, and 2. Stretch it again. So now it's a 6 and 6. And then one more time. There. Now it's a 6 by 6 by 6. So now that we got that done, let's say we actually want it a bit bigger. So we can actually just click here by 1. Boom. And then now we want to add the nose. So we can copy the thing. Remember to click copy element. Maybe let's make the nose like around that big. And then we can use that blue tool and shrink it. So why isn't it shrinking? Okay, if it doesn't shrink because of your mouse like mine, you can just do it manually. So we'll make it like that. And now from that, we can use that control thing I said about and position it perfectly as we want it. It actually looks a lot like a Turret Golem from Minecraft Legends. Actually, you know what? Why not? Let's make that. And the best thing about 3D modeling is that you can just change it depending on like what you feel looks good for it. And since the Turret Golem's perfect, so I can teach you everything about it anyway. So since we got that done, we can work on the legs. So for the legs, we can just copy the element again, drag it like that, and let's shrink it using the tool. And I think little chubby legs are perfect. So let's now just move it like that, copy it, and since I don't like it when a model is like perfectly aligned like that, and want to make it look more realistic, we can just try to drag them in, and now it looks a bit more real. And since we want it to be on the ground plane, we can just grab that and put him on. So we got that done. And let's say we actually don't feel like we're done. We want to add something else. Of course, what is it? The arrows. So to add something as small as arrows, we can just make a plane. So what a plane is, it's anything that's like a block that's 0 by 1 or 0 by something, which means it has no thickness whatsoever. So the reason for this is so that when we use the erase tool, it'll fit perfectly. So let's rotate it at a bunch of different angles. Right now it doesn't matter where those angles go. If those angles go like upwards, that's okay. It's as long as they're just angled. So I'll make 4 random angles like that. Make them random heights. You can make some smaller, some taller than others. And then once you're done, this is the important part, try to clump them all together. So we're gonna take each one, just drag them together. There. So it may look wonky like this, but trust me, when you actually put the texturing, that's the fun part. So now that we're done that, we can just hold control, drag until we get all of these selected, click create texture. Let's name him Turret Golem Text. You can click box UV if you want, it will make him more organized for you. And now we have him textured. So now we can erase the planes. So I recommend putting it on size 50 at the top here and clicking erase on every single one. If it doesn't erase like what I'm doing right now, that means that side can't be erased. It has to be the other side. So now that we're done that, now let's choose a good color scheme for a Turret Golem. So I'm thinking like a brownish peach would fit perfectly. So maybe something like around that. So we're gonna take the paint bucket, element, and fill the whole character. So now for his eyes. So if I'm right, a Turret Golem has like square eyes and they're really close to his nose. So you can just texture it like that. So if you don't like the way it looks, you can change the eye or facial structure however you want. I actually forgot what a Turret Golem looks like, so I'm gonna search up here. Turret Golem Minecraft Legends. And so see, other people have made turret golems in Blockbench, but a turret golem, usually according to the drawings, there, perfect, its eyes are right beside its nose. They're not above, they're like right beside. That's the part where we get to use the like re-edit the nose again. So let's make him a bit higher until his nose fits the pixels perfectly, or at least almost perfectly. Yeah, perfect, just like that. And then we can take this. Make sure not to click erase, because if you click erase, actually I can just show you. If you click erase, it will create like that. And that's a hole right through the character, and we don't want that. So if you ever want to change it so that instead of like, let's say the black color of the eyes back to the normal color, just use the old original color you had. So let's add the texture of the eyes. There, it's already turning out good. Now for my favorite part, the arrows. So before we actually work on the arrows, let's add the top part, which is like the hole it's all in. So we can hold them all, and then we can use the visibility and turn it off. So now it's gone. You can paint again, angle it, and then just texture a box. As long as it's black and you can't see that well. And let's quickly actually texture the character himself. So a tip about texturing, there's a few different kinds of texturing. So actually let's just scroll down the whiteboard and let me teach you about texturing. So there are these three kinds of textures, this one, and this one. And each one's perfect for its own scenario, but in our case, let's use the, I don't know, metallic and a hint of flame. So let's go back. So we're gonna use metallic. So metallic here we can use like, first add a border. Okay. And then, since wood never looks like that really, we're just gonna make it a bit brighter until we get a color that we think looks good. So I think that's a bit too bright, so maybe like a bit darker, a bit more. That's perfect. Yeah, so let's work on that. Notice how I try to make it look like panels of wood instead of just like all together. Also make sure to add them on the legs. Try to add them on the foot too if you want it to have more depth. Perfect. So now that we got that, let's just texture him into wood panels. So wood panels basically means it's like different colors of wood, and that it has like a wooden shape to it. Okay, I think that looks good. And then that there. So we've got like a little wooden guy. Now for one of my favorite parts, extra texturing. So another side scroll. There's two different kinds of texturing: trailer style and realism style. Trailer style has been the one that we've been using, but let's change it to real style. So the way realism works is that you can take something like, let's say like a darker color by that, change the opacity to my secret number 71, and then just add hints of it. The more you add over it, the better. And try not to add on the outer rims, because the outer rims will make it look weird. So now this is my favorite part, just texture. You literally can't texture any way wrong. So we'll just texture. So as you can see, you can notice it getting darker, and that's okay, because as long as it's getting darker but still like you can still tell it's wood, then that's fine. So perfect, we've got the whole character done. Let's work on the nose, and then if I'm correct, the nose has a little outer part too, the same color as its eyes, which is black. So let's just add. I have to change it back to opacity to 255. Make it black. and then add that outer rim. Boom. He's looking adorable and perfect. So now that we got that done, let's make the arrows. So the things we hid, we can put them back on, and now we can actually hide the whole rest of the character. So now all we have is the planes. So my best suggestion when making it, try to do one at a time. So we're doing arrows, right? So arrows usually for the Turret Golem, it's just the stick pointing out. So we can take that, make it like just pointing out, and then add, I think it's like brownish black at the top. Okay, so something like, yeah, something like that. So we got one panel done. So let's take that one away, put a new one. If it's taller, that's better, because not like anyone really says this, but the taller the better, because when it's taller, the viewers will get to see more, like actually like more arrows shooting out than just seeing like one or two. So when you have more arrows, it fits better. So try to add as many arrows as you can with a bunch of different sizes, and try to make as many arrows as you can in total. So that doesn't, I don't want that to mean like add like, I don't know, like 50 arrows on a single panel. It means add them like at a reasonable amount. So like in my case, I'm just adding 2. So we have one more. It's another small one. Let's make it really small. Like that. And now for my favorite part, the full reveal, where we take them all together. And boom! We got ourselves like a little turret golem. So this is because right now it's not shaded, but when we click shade, for you guys it might look something like this. That's because if you click the shading button up here and you turn it back off, it'll show its true colors, which is perfect. So now, I love this model so much, I don't know, I want to put it on something like Sketchfab or some other. So let's talk about exporting. But actually, before we talk about exporting, let's actually animate this little guy. So to animate, you actually need to group them first, or else it won't work. So in my case, I want the nose to work on its own, but each leg on its own too. So I'm gonna make 2 bones, one for each leg, and I'm gonna name them depending on the thing. So we're gonna name the first one right leg, and then the second one left leg, and then we can drag that one there. And then here we got the nose, so let's put it in a group, call it nose. And then we have the body. The body and the arrows should probably be together, but because we want the arrows to kind of like look like they're being drained out whenever he shoots, we're gonna have the body on its own. So we're gonna drag it into the bone and call it body. And the arrows, we can put them all together. So we can click shift, grab them all, click add group, and then name the arrows. And now we're ready to start animating. So we can click here, animate, add animation. Let's name the first one idle. We'll say loop, confirm. And now we have an animation named idle. So usually for this little guy, because he's adorable, let's make his idle that he's like kind of like bobbing up and down in a way. So first we're gonna make it that goes down, or like a smidge down. That goes a smidge down with it. Same with the arrows. I don't know why the arrows aren't actually going down. Arrows. Okay. For the next one, we're gonna have its body shrinking a bit more down. Same thing with the next one, a bit more down. And I think that's a reasonable amount. So we'll make that next one, he's going back up. So that he's staying up like that. And then he's going a bit more up. And then finally, back to how he was originally. So I'm not a pro animator or anything, but I think that looks good. Now you might notice how he's like really fast and it's kind of hilarious, and also how the arrows aren't moving with him for some reason. So first, actually, let's just pause and change the playback speed to like 40. Still a bit too fast. Let's change it maybe to like 10. Maybe 10, maybe a bit faster, it's like 15. Yeah, I think that's good. And since the arrows aren't moving, we can go back on edit and see what's wrong with the arrows. So arrows seem to be connected all. So when I go and animate, it should move, but it won't for some reason. Yeah, so that's idle. Now for shooting. We'll name this one Shoot. Confirm. So for shoot, we're gonna have to make it that his. First of all, let's hope that nope, arrows won't go down for some reason. Let's see if they can shrink. No. So far, we're gonna make it that his body goes down. Actually, on the second one, his body will go down. And so does his arrow thing. And then it will go back up. And then that will go a bit back with the nose stretching. And I don't know why, but it jumped a lot, so it's gonna look like smoothly. Nope, that's too slow. You know what, let's just keep it at idle, because idle's pretty good enough. I don't know still what's wrong with the arrows, so in this case I'm just gonna connect arrows with the body. Now let's see if it works. I mean, the arrows look really weird. That's definitely one thing for sure. So let's just click back and see how each one's doing. Arrows, we're gonna make that it's all the way down for every single one. And let's actually make sure it's on the right angle every single time too. Perfect. Now that we're done, we're gonna click File, Export, GTF Model, and now it's still named Puppet, but we can change that on the Sketchfab area. So I'm gonna go to my Sketchfab account, and let me go on my account. So I want to upload a model. So I'm going to click here on Upload Model. Click on it. I'll choose Puppet. Upload file. We can change it to Turret Golem. And then we can give it a description. The Turret Golem from Minecraft Legends. this for YouTube. So we'll make it free. So if you want to download it, we'll name it characters and creatures. We'll put tags on it. Minecraft Legends. No, Minecraft Legends. Minecraft Legends. Minecraft Golem. Just write normal Golem. Or actually, arrow. Shoot. Wooden. And then, of course, the block bench tag and my Minecraft tag. And now that we're done, we'll click save. And then for the rendering, so we'll click edit 3D settings. And if you notice here, the rendering's a bit different, so we can actually change the speed from here. So you can actually see how many frames. So let's actually change the speed so we can go on animation here. Speed, let's make it to this. This might be a bit too small, so we can change it to that. That's perfect. We can change the scene to field of view to 0, because that's how I like it. Put it like that. Let's actually pause the animation. Let's put it on static. Lighting, let's make it like Kirby Cove. Perfect orientation. Let's make the background different. Perfect. And then add different filters. And add grain, maybe depth of field. Vignette. Actually, no vignette. Bloom would fit, yeah. Tone mapping, color balance. Materials were. We could have subsurface scattering. That one. Yeah, let's add that. Ambient inclusion. And clear coat. Save view. And for annotations, we can just write here. Arrow bundle for shooting things. Turret nose for shooting the arrows. And boom. All we have to do is click save settings. And then click publish. So I can see my model. And boom, the Turret Golem. So the good thing about Sketchfab here is that you can actually view other people. So look, someone else here made the plank golem. Turns out that's actually what they're called, not Turret Golem. This is what you can get if you keep on working. So you can actually use a bit of texturing. He made it look a bit different from the original, but that's okay. And you can even check his account. So like you can go on his account. You can see he's made a bunch of different characters. He's even made the copper golem. And yeah, so that was our first introduction with the Turret Golem. So if you enjoyed this, you can subscribe. I'm not going to tell you to subscribe, but if you want, you can subscribe. And maybe if you want to get notified when more videos come out, you can click the bell. So thanks, and that's it. I'm out.